Story of Hope, where ordinary people share their stories of God's transformative power.
Now, this morning, a little bit different because we can't get to speak to this young man by the name of Hayden, but we can get to speak to somebody who is part of St. Joseph's. And such an honor and a privilege to say a very good morning to Dushina, who is the fundraising lead at St. Joseph's Intermediate Paediatric Care. Good morning. How are you doing, Dushina?
Good morning, Jonathan. Very well, thank you. Thank you for having us this morning.
It is a huge pleasure. So today we're sharing a story that feels especially profound at this time of the year, Christmas season. It's a story of resilience, expert care, and what can only be described as a Christmas healing miracle. 7-year-old Hayden arrived at St. Joseph's Intermediary Palliative Care earlier this year, unable to walk, unable to swallow, and in constant pain after battling tuberculosis, meningitis. His prognosis was uncertain and his little body was very fragile and malnourished. Please just tell us about your experience and the team's experience of when little Hayden arrived there.
You encapsulated it perfectly. When Hayden arrived with us from the Overberg, he was fragile and fearful, as you can imagine. And he presented with significant neurological fallout, left side hemiplegia, which meant he couldn't move on his left side. He had visual impairment, severe irritability to such an extent that his therapy sessions were very challenging. He didn't want to be touched because he was in so much pain. He was unable to swallow and received all his nutrition through a tube. At the time, his condition was described as severe acute malnutrition, which was a result of his illness and the prolonged feeding difficulties. His nutritional rehabilitation took a slow and gentle start, carefully adjusting his feeding according to his level of nausea and discomfort. His first few months were incredibly slow and uncertain, and the team had to really pull together to try and figure out the best way forward for this young man. I think the hope that we had that he would recover pulled everybody through, but he was so delicate and so fragile that all the therapy and rehabilitation team had to tread really, really, really carefully with him. Initially, his improvement was very minimal, but they remained steadfast and they focused on the comfort, on nutrition, and gentle stimulation to support his recovery. So, when he arrived with us, we were really very, very uncertain as to how his healing was going to happen.
Sure, that is. Wow. Sure. What are some of the key moments of breakthrough that came from the beginning signs of his healing?
I think the most important thing is that his appetite started to return. So slowly, and I say keep saying gently because that's what how they had to approach it. Right. His nutritional status improved, and once his nutritional status improved, so initially he had to do 6 months of intensive TB treatment, which was he had come in with TB meningitis. So once we'd gotten through that, his nutritional status improved, which meant he was a little happier and had more energy, and was able to now approach his therapy sessions a little bit more willingly. And with that, he achieved new milestones. He started, with a physiotherapist. This little boy who once cried when touched, now started greeting his therapist with smiles and hugs. And he slowly began to sit up unsupported. They moved him from, lying down into a wheelchair for short periods of time. And he loved hydrotherapy. I think that we could consider his turning point, because once he was in the water, it was so difficult to get him out because now the pain was removed. He felt free and able to, like a real little child again. So it was quite wonderful watching this over the few years. His visual perception also improved through occupational therapy. Then he improved to such an extent with his nutrition that he was able to avoid surgery. So he was on the list for surgery to have his peg removed, and he avoided that. So it was really, that I think for us was incredible. And after that happened, it just started his improvement started escalating.
Yeah, that is amazing. If you just tuned in, you've missed a big part of the story, but don't worry, you can catch it on our Facebook and on our YouTube. This is the incredible story of a little boy by the name of Hayden, who arrived at St. Joseph's intermediary pediatric care in a condition of unable to walk, unable to eat, unable to do anything. And through love and care and lots of multidisciplinary medical intervention, he's able to walk, which is amazing. But let's just talk about the role of multidisciplinary care at St. Joseph's, where you offer physiotherapy, occupational therapy, nursing, nutrition, and more. How did these different disciplines work together in supporting Hayden's recovery?
I think, Jonathan, one of the key principles of St. Joseph's is care. We look at the whole child. So even though children are admitted to us for medical care, St. Joseph's firmly believes that medical doesn't happen alone. There's a whole support system that goes around it. And quite often the children that are admitted to us are complex. It's not just the one condition. We look at Hayden, it was TB meningitis, but the implications of that TB meningitis meant that he needed physiotherapy, he needed occupational therapy, he needed the services of the dietitian, he needed speech therapy to learn to be able to swallow again. So that is not just Hayden, it's all the kids that are admitted to St. Joseph's. Multidisciplinary care helps the child not just heal from their medical condition, but prepares them for life. So whether they come in after having a motor vehicle accident, there's trauma that is part of this. And then we have, apart from the clinical teams, we also have our social workers who help the families and make sure that the families are ready to receive the child and educate the families on the child's condition and what to expect when that child comes home. So all of that forms part of our sort of St. Joseph's ecosystem, I can put it that. We make sure that every aspect of the child, whether it's spiritual, physical, is looked after whilst they're with us. And that is why they stay with us generally 6 months or longer. So we make sure that we attend to every bit of what the child needs and the family as well.
Sure, that is absolutely beautiful. And I know that we shared on Hayden's story, but that's just one of the cases that you and your team at St. Joseph's actually cover. But maybe if you can just chat briefly about the different conditions that children come into your care, what do they typically face?
Sure. Just to put in perspective, we receive children from 21 different referral facilities for our 175-bed occupancy. So we've got 175 kids children with us at a time, and they range in age from newborns through to 18 years of age. And they have complex health challenges, mostly chronic illnesses, such as cerebral palsy. Some of them have got infectious diseases like Hayden, TB meningitis, HIV is very prevalent amongst our patients. Brain injuries, sometimes from trauma, from gunshot wounds, motor vehicle accident, a pedestrian accident, or even abuse. Some admitted to neurological disorders, and of course we have our cancer patients. So it's a wide range of illnesses that are treated at St. Joseph's, where they receive this rehabilitative and restorative care. So our clinical team has to be able to attend to many conditions that our children are faced with.
Yeah, sure. As we start to wrap up, Dushina, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the amazing team at St. Joseph's. But just want to talk briefly before we give the contact details. Talk about the need for emotional well-being, the smiles, the hugs, the love. Did you notice anything with regard to Hayden and his journey to recovery?
If you think about a child being taken away from its family for a period of time to recover, we know it's best for the child because they're in a really in the right place at the right time. But it is challenging and difficult for a child to be away from family. So we make sure that our team team is their family, that where there's lots of hugs and smiles, and every person that's involved with every single patient, provides that caregiver role, the emotional role that's missing at that point. So we all, the surrogate moms and dads, and, it ranges from the operational staff to the driver who takes the child back to the hospital. Every person gets very involved with the children that are with us, just to make sure that they feel joy and that they feel that they're getting better. So it's really, really an important part of how we approach this journey with our children.
Beautiful.
Well, in closing, if we can ask, how can people find out more information on the work that you're doing?
I think our website, if people can go to our website, it is the season of giving, and we're asking people to please support these children who have nowhere else to receive the care. Then our website is www.stjosephsipc.org.za, and you can follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
That is so easy. Come on, ladies and gents, please do something, make a difference. The easiest way is through their website, stjosephsipc.org.za. It's just such a heartwarming story, and to God be the glory for what he's done. So thank you so much. Thank you for chatting to us this morning. On the line there, we had Dushina, the fundraising lead at St. Joseph's, and what an incredible story. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for having us on CCFm.
Great pleasure. Have a good one. Merry Christmas, and God bless you and everybody at St. Joseph's.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.
Amazing grace, how sweet.